back to the Reign from Within podcast. I'm your host, Bianca. I realized that I never said that. Hi, I'm your host. My name is Bianca. Yeah. If you're watching the YouTube video, I'm just hoping the coloring comes out better. But I've been a little stressed here fiddling around with my camera because I feel like the color looks so off and I don't know what I did. I know I was tinkering with the settings the other day, but I didn't think I tinkered that much. So I'm just hoping it comes out okay. But what is up, y'all? Welcome back to the podcast. And if you guys listened to the last episode, I kind of explained how, your girl was a little bit ambitious going for posting a new podcast every single week. In theory, that's great. And I do pray that in some point I can do that. However, in this season right now, that I'm in, it's just a little ambitious for me. So, in order to make sure that I am providing the best quality that I can and putting my heart into this podcast and really letting God speak through me and it's not rushed or anything like that, I decided that doing every other week is going to be the deal here. So, I realized that I never officially said the posting schedule, but yeah, so it's gonna be Fridays. Every other Friday is when we're gonna be having a new post. And as of right now, I'm also doing a new blog post every Friday. However, the blog post I may be able to increase, so just stay on the lookout for that. I might actually throw in some more bonus blog posts on the website. Website is still giving me little technical difficulties. I'm actually currently in the process of dealing with customer service and getting that connected and all well and good. So prayerfully that is going to be fixed soon. However, you can still see the site if you go to the Reign from Within podcast Instagram page. The link in the bio is my whole link tree where you can click any platform that you prefer for the podcast to be streamed on, and then there's also a link to the blog there. Also on there, I have the podcast directly off the blog. So if you go to the episodes there, you'll see like a summary of what the episode is, kind of like the show notes type of thing, and then you can listen to the audio right on the website. So all one place. I don't have the videos up there. I was thinking about incorporating the videos to my website too. But I didn't love how it looked. But let me know what you think. If you guys like having everything in one place, I'm more than happy to do that. I'll find a way. But yeah, so that's the whole ordeal with the website. And then that is the posting schedule. So it's going to be every other Friday for the podcast. Blog post will be every other Friday as well. But like I said, there might be some bonus blog posts because I like to write, and getting a blog post up is a lot simpler than getting a podcast up because obviously the editing and all that stuff. So we'll see. But I have lots of dreams and vision for this coming up. And also, it's also a process of elimination, trial and error. Your girl's just in a season of just seeing what works. I talked about it in one of the episodes where someone asked me oh, what did you get? Da-da-da. I'm like, girl, I'm literally just rolling with the punches. And that is what we're doing out here. We're rolling with the punches. But it's so funny. You guys are so cute. A lot of you asked me how my car's doing. If you listen to the last episode, I was talking about how I was in a loaner car, y'all. That same day that I was filming that episode, I actually got the loaner. Guys, I had that loaner for an entire week. And I was like, what gives, y'all? But it's okay. All is well and good. I took the loaner back. I got my baby back. So we are happy. I loved the loaner though. The loaner I had was a Volkswagen Jetta. Loved her. If you're considering getting a Jetta, go test drive it. I literally loved it. So anyway, that was the car situation, and it was good. It was good. By the time you guys hear this, it'll be a Good Friday, but we are in Holy Week currently, as I'm speaking here, and girl, this week has been busy, but in a really good way. It's been in a really good way. You can just see that there's a lot of, for those who don't know, I do work in ministry. So yeah, Easter week was very hectic. And it's crazy because I'm not even in the hectic sector of it all. I'm literally in the behind the scenes side of things. But just seeing that, gratefully, I've been, there's school. You guys know I'm in school. And yeah, but I'm loving school, loving work. All is good, all is well. And yeah, so it's been a great week, and I hope you guys are having a good week. I cannot believe March is literally coming to an end already. I was talking to one of my friends the other day, and I was telling him how I'm like, everyone says like this year is going by so fast, and it's really not. He was like, right? It is going by super slow. And I'm like, no, seriously. Like, yeah, it's so interesting because this month felt fast. Like when I think back at it, I'm like, oh my gosh, like I launched this podcast on March 8th and it's already like the end of March. And and like when I think about things like that, it kind of feels like, whoa, where did the time go? But at the same time, I just feel like literally since January, I'm like, wow, God's been moving. I feel like I'm just floating on a cloud. Like I'm big chilling right now. So it's been a good time, and I'm just so expectant. Like I just been seeing God move in ways I knew he was going to move like so much this year. Like I already knew that this is God's year, and God was going to just do a great works, and he's been doing just that, and it's been a great time. So, I'm loving it, and I'm just really basking in it all, honestly. I wanted to do a couple like updates. I've always wanted to do like I've heard some podcasts where they'll do like segments like what their drink is, and like I've said that I wanted to do that. Like it's literally even like I have written down, but like I could never remember. I guess I don't know. I get turn the camera on and get chatty, and I forget that I wanted to do that. One thing I want to acknowledge. Okay, we went back to nighttime filming. I was gonna say that we went back to nighttime filming because of that reason. If you guys can hear, my dogs are currently barking because either my dad or my sister just came home and they bark. During the daytime, my dog will bark outside the window. So I was like, yeah, no, filming in the morning is just not it. And frankly, I like the calm of the evening. Like, I love that, like, everyone's kind of just shutting down. I love the, like, calmness of it all and everything. Me personally, I'm more like I'm not on 10. Like I watched back the footage of like the last episode, and it wasn't bad. Like it came out fine, but I just feel like I was so like mind you, I had just gotten home, picking up a loaner, blah 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 blah. But basically, nighttime filming is where it's at. So I am currently drinking just some water. Oh, and on YouTube, I've been binging Ali Shinaki and Austin Armstrong, or like the whole Shinaki family. My sister, it's funny, my sister always watched her, I believe. I want to say, but I do know that my sister has always been the one that like mentioned her name to me. Like I think she's been into their vlogs and videos and stuff like that, the Shinakis and Ali Shinaki specifically and whatever. So basically I'm into her right now, and I'm just like binging her channel, having so much fun with that. Not really watching anything on TV. It's so funny because I was actually watching The Rookie, and The Rookie The Rookie, if you don't know what it is, it's a cop show, and it's a really good show. Like it's a very good watch. But I'm the kind of person that when something makes me nervous on one of those shows, like if I know something big's gonna happen, I like take like a hard pause. Like I'll like exit the episode and then like take forever to go back to it. The last time I hard paused was like this really intense episode when they were like locked in the courthouse with murder. Oh my gosh. And I was like, oh no, I cannot watch this episode. Hard paused for like months, and I finally went back. Now, y'all, nothing's even happening. I just have like a hunch that something's gonna go wrong, and I basically put the show down months ago and I haven't picked it up again. I do wonder what the outcome of that scene was, because it really wasn't that serious. But basically, someone turned off their radio, and I was like, oh no, turning off the radio in a cop show just doesn't sound like a good idea. So I'll let y'all know if I get back to that. But yeah, I've actually been dying recently to watch like some certain movie. Oh, I was telling my sister I wanted to watch The Confessions of a Teenage Drama Queen. And I'm like, okay, maybe one of these days I'll take out the day. I'll take out the time to like watch it. Recently, the last like antojo, I guess you would say, that I had to watch a movie was The Chronicles of Narnia. And yes, I sat and watched it. My mom and my sister were down to watch it with me. And yeah, that movie is just fire. Like I'm like, wow, this is such a good movie. Y'all, we're stepping into the spring and summer. Your girl is not a spring and summer girl, okay? Okay, let me take that back. Let me run it back. I like all the seasons within reason. That's what it is. So like the springtime, I just don't like all the rain, but I love the spring. I love, like, I'm a spring baby, if you don't know. My birthday's in May. I am a spring baby. And yeah, I love like the newness of spring. And I've talked about that before, like how I like the beginnings of things, right? And summer, I like the sun. As someone who is very into holistic wellness and holistic health, the sun is my thing. As an esthetician, I will say to really stack up on your sunscreen. But in general, I do love the sun, and I like to be out in the sun, like sun activities within reason. And also, if you have like the proper attire, the fall I love as well, the cold I love as well. But I do live in Florida. Full disclaimer, yes, maybe I don't know exactly what an actual winter is, but that's okay with me. One day I will. Like, I'm going to be traveling a little bit this year. So, Lord willing, I will experience some snow and stuff. So, it'll be fun. It is officially spring now. And, girl, the spring has commenced, okay? It is so humid. It is a wonder how my hair is still in its blowout state. The thing is, y'all, I wore my hair curly the other day. It's just, the girls that get it will get it. The girls that get it, okay? There are times that, you're just not feeling your hair in a certain form. And that's me right now with my girls. I'm just not feeling them right now. It's not my vibe right now. It's not my aesthetic right now. They're just not my thing right now. But anywho, what I really want to dive into today, I wanted to dive into a couple of things. At the beginning of this year, I think this happens almost every year, but that I can recall, this was the year that I saw it the most, where people were really talking about like their ins and outs for 2024. And I didn't really participate in that. I remember I was originally supposed to launch this podcast over in January, and I just didn't. And I was like, okay, you know what? We're going to launch in March, whatever. So I was going to do an episode on the ins and outs, and like I ended up canning it because, I don't know, I just forgot. And then on Instagram, I never got to it too. So whatever. So we're going to talk about it today. The ins and outs of 2024. And a couple of ins. And this is the thing. I don't really know like what context people are like looking at this from. But a couple of the ones I came up with was some of my ins for this year are being present, slowing down, elegant chic, soft femininity, reading more, and sitting in silence. Being present, oh my gosh, y'all, I've talked about this a couple times on this podcast already, but like the importance of like just remaining present, and how I had to learn the hard way to like remain present where you're at, what you're doing, and like just take it all in, like all of it, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Like take it all in and learn from all the experiences that you possibly can. Same thing with like slowing down. So I guess they're kind of like one and the same. Like just slow down. I'm someone that, your girl used to be just on go-go all the time. And I mean, I still am. Like if you know me personally, you probably were just like, you are Bianca, But the difference is I'm on go-go and I'm just basking in it. Like I actually love every single corner detail of my life right now. Like literally I have the most jam-packed calendar I've ever had in my entire life. And I fully believe that every single thing on my calendar is ordained by the Lord, because I've never had such a busy schedule and I've been so at peace. And I just launched a podcast. Like, you can't tell me that's not God. Like, I'm so this busy and I have this going on and I'm still launching stuff. Like, that's literally insanity. It sounds like insanity, but I believe that God has called me for such a time as this. You know what I mean? Reading more. I've been really into reading. So at the beginning of this year, I set up a goal for myself of reading 12 books this year. So just one book a month. I wanted to like aim a little low. But so far so good. I mean, in January, I actually ended up reading 3 books in January. So that was fun. And then now in school, for school alone, I'm reading 3 different books. Like they're not textbooks, like they're actually reading books, and they're pretty good, but they're class-based. And then I'm reading 2 other books. One like on this study that I'm doing with some mentors, and then I'm doing another like a development program I'm doing with my main mentor. And I say my main mentor because like I talk to them like on a regular basis. And yeah, so I'm doing that, but I'm not reading anything like for fun right now. However, I'm reading no less, and I just feel like it's just a moment. I skipped over Soft Femininity and Elegant Chic. So when I say elegant chic, I'm really into like specifically like obviously I'm talking about fashion. I'm talking about like the way you dress and stuff. I'm very into, oh my gosh, my dad just got back from the gym, and if you hear all that ruckus behind me, he is blending a protein shake, and I highly apologize, and I hope you can still hear me. Anyway, so yeah, elegant chic, like fashion wise, elegant chic, and then there's also soft femininity. So soft femininity, I'm a big fan of, because soft femininity, as in, how would I even put this? It's kind of like just the soft life. Like, we've all heard of the soft life. It's literally been all over social media. But basically, I just want to be able to sometimes within reason, turn my brain off. That's never hurt anybody. Sitting in silence. This is like my new favorite thing. Like, to sit in silence is my one of my favorite things now. Like, I used to put on music like when I go to bed. Like, I used to have my Google Home play like worship when I go to bed, like on a really like low volume, and I used to say to like keep this repeating. So I would wake up to the music shuffling as well. That was great. Whatever. But one of these recently, I had forgotten to say to repeat. So basically, by the time I woke up, the music had stopped. And I actually loved that. So now I do that purposely. Like, I don't repeat the music, and I like to wake up to the silence. So I've been really enjoying literally sitting in silence. Like, I'm definitely a background music ambiance kind of person. Like, I'm definitely like on Spotify, I'll look up like Parisian Cafe, it's my favorite, or coffee house jazz. Those are like my favorite kind of vibes to listen to, like when I'm doing homework and stuff, or Bible study, or whatever the case may be. Or even cooking, honestly. Parisian Cafe is my favorite for like cooking. And but sitting in absolute silence is like my new thing. Like, it's my new jam. Like, I'll be sitting on my desk, like literally just doing my planner, and I literally just want the silence. Like, I just want to sit in silence in my room. And I like to do that a lot at night, and when I'm like really like just unwinding for the evening, like putting everything away, putting laundry away, yada yada. I like to just sit in silence. And that's not all the time. Like, sometimes I watch like YouTube videos or whatever the case may be. But yeah, sitting in silence is like a big one. So now some outs. Some of my outs are pretty short and sweet, and it's not a lot, honestly. My main out is hustle culture. The second one is overthinking content, and the third one is self-doubt. So hustle culture, I think, kind of speaks for itself, but basically burning out and like not sleeping. Girl, like, I just like going back to being on go all the time. Like, I just feel like for so long I was just like, just go, just go, just go. Like, I'll sleep later, I'll sleep later. But I realized that by doing that, life was just like slipping through my fingertips. And I was like, hello? Like, I just bit myself. um, I don't even remember experiencing this, like things like that. And overthinking content, oh my gosh, overthinking content's like a big one. And honestly, I have to find the balance between overthinking content and then like not posting anything. That's the thing. Like, I have to be mindful about providing quality content, and also just, and honestly, like, not so much like, oh, I have to provide this. Like, I really just want really lighthearted content again. And truly, I want content that like you guys can get to know me. Like, I really want to just be so true to myself. And one thing I can say I'm so grateful for, I don't think I ever lost sight of being true to myself. I definitely rebranded a few times, but if you know me, you know that I just do that. I rebrand sometimes. Like, it's not because of anything other than like that's me. Like, I'm trying to figure out what I like. So yeah, I definitely like rebranded aesthetically speaking a couple of times, but who I am at the core has never really changed. And I've never posted things that I don't believe in or anything like that. None of that craziness. But what I'm saying is, like, just like this, like, I have the podcast now where I get to chit chat with you guys a little bit more. I'm still doing the vlogs, and if you didn't already, I just recently posted, if you didn't know, I just recently posted like a week in my life where I took you guys to work with me for a week, and kind of just like got to like play around with that and like talk to you guys. And like, I want to get back into my vlogs and really just be so much more raw again. Like, at one point my vlogs were a lot more raw, a lot more, and I think I kind of like lost the heart of that for a while. I don't really have a reason, I think. I just needed to slow down a little bit more. But going back into things and going back into curating content and such like that, like I don't want it to be so, like I think so hard. Like I really just want to pick up the camera and chat sometimes, you know. Same thing with Instagram, same thing with my stories. My stories are the most fun, and it's crazy, the most interactive when I'm like just being a dork and chatting. My dad is literally juicing right now, and I pray that it is not picking up on this mic. Lord help me. But usually my stories are like real chatty. Like you guys, like people that follow me tend to love it or like interact with it a lot. I'll get a lot of people responding. They have something to say. So I'm like, this is it. Like this is how this is like my way to talk to people. Like I think it's so much fun. And self-doubt, honestly, by the grace of God, I don't struggle with this too much, but I was unpacking with my friend Jessie about what it is to like kind of just seek perfection a little too much sometimes, and almost like, and he said this word, he said that we set like a standard for ourselves, and that if you don't reach that standard, you're not satisfied. And I really think that's what I'm kind of getting into, like that's what I mean when I say self-doubt, kind of just like overthinking and just really like to the point where like, okay, in that conversation, I brought up the concept of procrastination. So I'm someone that can tend to procrastinate when I feel slightly overwhelmed. When I'm slightly overwhelmed, I tend to like kind of freeze. And that goes into like self-doubt where I just like, and I'll allow myself to go into a place of overwhelm because I'm thinking so hard about whether or not I'm going to succeed in XYZ, you know? So just self-doubt in general. But yeah, hustle culture is something I actually prepared a couple more like points on that. Like that's something I'm really passionate about because y'all, one thing about this year, my main in for the year is just take it all in. Like take it in. I think that's basically everything I said within my ins and outs, is like really take it in and just be so present. Like God even tells us, like, yo, God, guys, like, we're literally called to slow down. Like, when God created the heaven and the earth, like, he literally rested on the seventh day. And that's not because God needed rest. That's because God created us in his image, and he was creating a structure for us to follow, right? So in Genesis 2:2-3 says, on the seventh day, God had finished his work of creation, so he rested from all his work. And God blessed the seventh day and declared it holy because it was the day when he rested from all his work of creation, right? So when God set that apart, like the rest day is holy. There's a reason. God knew that we were going to need that time to just breathe and rest. So why is it that we don't allow ourselves that time to just take a deep breath? There are a lot of times like, y'all, we just live in this state of fight or flight all the time. I do this thing where when I'm about to actually do this when I'm about to go to bed too, but when I'm about to eat, my sister actually makes fun of me sometimes. Well, that, yeah, she'll like make fun of me, or she'll like chuckle when I sit down next to her to eat, and I go and I sit next to her and I'm just like I like to take a deep breath, and I take a couple of deep breaths before I start eating, because what happens is if you take 3 deep breaths, look it up, if you take deep breath, you neutralize your parasympathetic nervous system, which takes you from being in fight or flight into rest and digest. So the best time to eat is when your body is in rest and digest, so that your food goes down better, you know, like it's digesting, you're resting and digesting. And then same thing as going to bed. I started to do that habit, like after like I finish my night, I pray, you know, whatever the night routine consists of, and then I go and I finally lay in bed and I take a deep breath, and once I'm ready to like knock out, turn off the light and like put my head on my pillow, I'll take 3 deep breaths, like just in through your nose, out through your mouth, and literally just do that, and like try to slow down your heart rate as much as possible. And then you're gonna see, I've found such an improvement in my sleep quality by doing that. And it's literally just such a practical habit of breathing, like literally just breathe. Also, this is a fun little thing I wanted to share. So one time I was kind of curious about like I'm really into personal development. If you guys know me, you know, but I'm into like just looking up like different personal development and like books and things like that. So I one time looked up like, well, I think I just stumbled across this, but it was the habits of successful people, and I wanted to share those with you guys. And a couple of things that we've talked about already on this podcast thus far, you're going to see in this list. So one of them is organization. Number one is organization. That's planning, goal setting, setting priorities, etc. Like that. The next one is relaxation. Let's see, y'all, my battery died, but we're here. Yeah, so the second thing is going to be relaxation. Relaxation, like, it's same thing we were just talking about. Like, literally relax and breathe. And that's literally on the list of the habits of successful people, y'all. That tells you, and I said that really funky, like I got tongue-tied, yes. But that's literally on the list of habits of successful people to relax. The next one is taking action, personal care, positive attitude, networking. We're going to get into that for a second. Frugality, rising early, sharing, and reading. So a couple of ones I want to get into is networking. Y'all, the importance of networking, guys. Networking is the cheat code to life. And that goes to like networking as in getting to know people, talk to people, and like you don't know, there are so many people that you don't know the doors that will open for you just by getting to know someone and just from learning from people. Like so many opportunities can arise within your purpose and your calling and like who you are. Heck, you might even find out what your purpose and calling is by talking to other people. Like the importance of networking is amazing. Positive attitude, positive self-talk. Like, so that's another thing Jesse and I had gotten into. My friend and we were chatting up about like just like leadership development stuff and like just things we were talking. And then I was saying that like something I tend to tell people is like be nice to yourself or like love yourself. And like what I mean by that is truly there's so much, the power of life and death is in your tongue. Okay, what you speak about yourself is the fruit you're going to bear off that tree, off that root that you put into the ground, right? And so like when you talk to yourself, talk well. Even if you're just like even when you're like the most like I'll say to myself is, Bianca, you know better. I'm like, Bianca, do better. I'll be like, Bianca, do better. Because I'm such an advocate for just speak nicely to yourself. Like, don't call yourself dumb, don't call yourself an idiot, don't call yourself stupid, because realistically speaking, if you wouldn't say that to someone else, why would you say it to yourself? Right? Frugality. Here it says learning to be economical, avoiding waste, and this results in efficiency. So frugality as in like don't be stingy. That's never, there's no blessing in being stingy. Like the Bible just says to give. It always says give, 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 give. Like if you live life close-handed, you're also close-handed to what can come to you. But if you live life open-handed, you are also open-handed for what can come to you, right? So that's not the level of frugality, but it's more like be smart, be a steward of your money, be a steward of the blessings that come into your hands, and learn how to not waste anything. Don't waste money, don't waste time, don't waste resources, don't waste people's times. Like literally take everything in so well and have basically reverence for everything that comes into your hands, you know? Rising early. This is one that a lot of people don't want to talk about, but rising early, there's just so much like, and I've known people that are truly not morning people by nature, and they decide to wake up early, just an hour earlier than what they're used to waking up, and there is just such a different level of confidence in yourself because you got something done that is out of your comfort zone, and B, you're also like the productivity level, like what you're able to get done, because if you wake up 1 hour earlier, you may be able to squeeze in that more satiated breakfast. You might be able to implement that more healthier routine of taking your vitamins. You might be able to start your water earlier in the day. Me personally, now I have a long commute, so I try to steer clear of water first thing in the morning. I mean, not first thing in the morning, like I drink some water, but I'm saying like I used to say the Stanleys, for example, a couple of these a day will get you your gallon, right? I used to like to drink at least half a gallon of water before, like by the time I got to work. And my goal is always to accomplish my water goal before I clock out of work. And that was always more achievable when I started really early in the day. So rising early has its benefits. Sharing, giving, donating, sharing ideas. So it's so funny because I like how they put frugality and sharing in the same list, because it kind of goes to show what I just said. Like frugality as in be mindful about what you're stewarding and what's in front of you, but also sharing as in stay open-handed, share. But it's also sharing concepts, sharing ideas, share what you learn. One thing my mentor tells us is, my mentor has actually like a life coach to some degree. I forget what it is. I think it's an emotional life coach, I think it is. But basically what he learns and what he shares with us is that always be willing to give away what you learn. Like give it away. Like just be willing to like give it to the next person. There's so much power within being able to share what you learn. And then also like that's why, again, that ties right back into networking. You never know the kind of person you're going to meet and what they're going to be able to pour into you. And imagine that. So I really advocate for that. And then reading. Isn't that funny? I actually forgot. I didn't realize that was on the list, but we were just talking about reading. Reading, it says for pleasure, but also to gain knowledge or insight. So yeah, reading. Okay, so going back to reading, it's so funny because like I told you guys, when I set that goal for myself, I wanted to read more. I didn't say I wanted to read more like self-help book or like personal development books. I actually did want to start dabbling more into fiction novels. So I actually had started the Kindle Unlimited subscription, and I did the trial to see if I even would want it, because little did I realize that Kindle Unlimited doesn't mean all the books. There's like certain books that fall into it. So yeah, I was just kind of like, well, let's see. I did find a lot of books. I ended up, by the time my trial was over, is when I was getting involved with all these other books around me that I have to read. So I was like, whatever, I'll just let the trial end. I'll pick it up later if anything. But as far as fiction novels go, there's a lot of good ones and a lot of fun like romance novels and like just cutesy books that you can find on there. So reading for fun is something that I gratefully got into. And because I love personal development books, but y'all, like sometimes you're just not looking for that. Sometimes you just want to read. You don't want to learn something. You just want to read. You just want to kind of go into like a different place while you're reading. If you know, you know? But yeah. So I wanted to share those habits with you. So essentially the overall purpose of what I wanted to talk about today, honestly, was about like anti-hustle culture. Like I really wanted to speak against hustle culture, and I really wanted to speak against like just being on go, 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 go all the time. And I really just want to encourage you guys to just slow down and like remember what you can take in of a situation. Remember what you're able to grasp from someone. What are you able to learn? What are you able to give away? What are you able to just, how will you this week, I'm going to actually challenge you guys to that. Think about this. I want you to think about this week, going into this next week, going into the weekend, whenever you're listening to this podcast. How can you, what parts of your day can you take a moment and slow down? That's one. And then secondly, will you make it a point to slow down and really collect? And I promise you guys, if you make this a point to slow down and really observe and really feel, like just take a minute to feel, take a minute to be aware, take a minute to just say something nice to yourself. Take a minute to remember that you are so worthy, and there's nothing more that you can do that can make God love you anymore. There's nothing more that you can do to merit your calling or your purpose, because you are called. You were called from your mother's womb. You were called and you were put here on earth for a reason. So if you just slow down for a minute and think about, okay, let me stop. What am I doing? I'm here for a reason. I'm here on a mission. But also, you're here on a mission. You're here for a reason. But God never says that you have to burn yourself out trying to figure that out. Why? Because all God wants you to do is to lean on Him. Within all of that, like the overall message here, and honestly, I did just kind of want to chat. I got excited. I was like, I want to talk about this. And before I started the podcast, I prayed about it. I said, God, let this be you and not me. And I want God to speak through here. And I pray that if you're listening to this, this is something you needed to hear. But I fully believe that this is a message that God really wants His children to understand, that you don't have to do the absolute most, because he's called you. You are worthy, and God is doing a great thing in his children, and he has a great thing for you. All you have to do is realize what's in your control. What can you do? How do you do it in excellence? Yeah, like do everything you do for the Lord as if you're doing it for the Lord. And then when you're doing something for the Lord, make sure you do it in excellence. You represent God well by doing everything well. Like you do your absolute best. If you know that if you're going to go into work and you're doing data entry, you make sure that your data entry is as good as you possibly can do it, because you as a child of God are representing him and his kingdom, and who you are is his child, And overall, the message here is I just really want you guys to think about that going into this week. Like I said, where can you slow down? Where can you take a beat? When can you designate your day of rest? Because it doesn't necessarily have to be on Sunday. Sometimes, a lot of people work in retail. Like for example, me, I work in ministry. A lot of my coworkers, Sunday's a work day for them. Not for me necessarily. Not right now, not in the position that I'm in, but a lot of people around me, yeah, Sunday's a work day for them. So their Sabbath day, their rest day is on Fridays. Some people's rest days are on Saturdays. So whatever that day is, what does that day look like? And how can you honor that day? And how can you just sit back and say, God, today I will rest, and I trust and believe that you are in control. And also, just a side note, I just want to clarify that rest day doesn't necessarily mean that you're sleeping all day. Like, it's not that. It's like resting and just really being, it's a day of worship for one. You thank the Lord for, everything, like everything he's done in your life. And it's also like a time it's so life-giving. It's supposed to be a life-giving time. Go outside, get in the sun, be around your family, be around people that you love, etc. So I did feel like chatting, guys. Like I really did. It's so funny because, like I said, I was praying about this and I said, God, may you speak through this podcast in Jesus' name. And as I'm like setting up, my little setup, my light, my camera, and I'm just like, ooh, I'm excited to just chat. Like, I don't know what's going to come out of this episode, but we're just going to chat. So, like obviously here on the Reign From Within podcast, we talk about, discovering your calling, identifying your purpose, and identifying who you are, and finding rest within it all. That's really what the mission and the vision of this podcast is knowing that you can do it all. You don't have to do it alone, and you can rest within it. But you are so powerful. You are called. And I really want you to realize, to identify your reign, your power, and what your power is in this kingdom, and to identify who you are. So I'm so excited for what's to come and what God's doing. Follow me on the Instagram page is the Reign From Within podcast. Check out the website too. On there you can also send in prayer requests, praise reports. I will be here with you to champion you and to really just support you in it all. But I'm so glad you are here. You are so worthy. You are called, and I'm so hoping that some of this made sense. It's so funny. Sometimes I just be here babbling. When I go back and listen, and it kind of makes sense enough to post, I'm like, wow, God is good. Amen. But I be babbling. But I did just want to chat with you guys. I kind of wanted to just get into a couple of things that are on my heart. This is basically how I'm navigating 2024. And yeah, I'm loving it. I'm at peace. God is good, and he's in control. Anyways, guys, that being said, I'm going to go ahead and close out this episode here. And I hope to see you guys next time. If you're not on the YouTube channel, you should go subscribe to the YouTube channel. If you're on the YouTube channel, what's up, y'all? Don't forget to subscribe. Leave me a comment down below if you're new here. And yeah, I look forward to talking to you guys again. So I'll see you guys next time. Until then, I love you. Bye.